quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. It's where we all began. Welcome to Lazy Dog Typewriters.
Howdy folks, welcome to Lazy Dog Typewriters, where we have a behind the scenes video of a garage tour. So right now we have this beautiful custom painted gray signature 510, and I just really like the gray color on it. And for the 100 subscribers you guys generously gave to us, we will be giving you back a garage tour.
All right, thanks Kevin. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the tools that we use just to start out. First off, you'll see my lovely Lazy Susan, and this was a generous gift from our friend Typewriter Minutes. He uses a green mat, and so we put our own blue mat to be oh so different. But this is from IKEA. It's a Lazy Susan. It's really useful. This one wobbles a little bit, so we just have to deal with it. But what you see in front of you here are some tools I thought you might appreciate seeing, and we'll just go over them quickly. This is tools of the trade, I guess. Now, real professional typewriter repairmen back in the day had a lot different, but they used some of them that we use, and we have to improvise. So I'm going to start out with what I think is probably the most useful tool in the inventory that I never knew about when I first started, and that is a spring hook. And you can see it has a hook on one end, and then it has a little bit of a grasping tool on the other. And this thing is absolutely phenomenal for hooking into springs and positioning and placing them on typewriters. So here's a spring for an IBM Selectric, for example. It doesn't matter what it is, but if that's loose in there, you can pull against it and help you hook it around pegs or posts. And before I had this, I was trying to do all of those things with a dental pick or with a hemostat, which we have right here, and it was just a nightmare. I remember particularly working on a particular Smith Corona Corsair, and it was so impossible to attach a spring until someone said, hey, do you have a spring hook? So if you're working on your own typewriters, get yourself a spring hook. Then I'm going to go, just quickly, I already mentioned it, but this is a hemostat, so it's just kind of a locking pair of tweezers. Really useful for grabbing onto things so that they don't go flying off. Really helpful. Similar vein, a nice pair of tweezers. This is a bent tip. We have several of those. Your typical small needle nose plier is very useful. And then this brings us to another kind of a plier. This is probably the only real typewriter repairman tool that I actually own, and it's a bender with a 3-prong plier. So I'll be completely honest with you, I've never used this yet. This came from our friend John the Shy Typospherean from Austin Typewriter Inc., and we really appreciate it, and someday we'll hopefully figure out how to use it. But we have it there. Another useful tool we do know how to use is our soft jaw pliers, and I've sort of boogered them up a little bit recently, but these have an insert here which prevents you from marring items that you're trying to tighten or loosen. It comes in handy a little bit. Another useful tool you may not have heard about, which is a huge help, is called a quick wedge. Okay, so it looks like a weird screwdriver. What happens is when you push this little cylinder piece out, it spreads the quick wedge tip, and what that does is it widens it, so when you have a very small screw, I don't have, well, here's one right here. We always have a little sack of screws around. If you have a screw, a slotted screw that has a slot, you push it in like that, it holds on to your screw. Now, you say, well, yeah, I have a magnetic screwdriver, it does the same thing. Yeah, maybe. But when you're reaching deep into the bowels of a typewriter and you're trying to manipulate something, man, just knowing that that screw isn't going to fall off is so helpful. And that's really helped a lot of times, especially with really small screws. This is a big one. So the quick wedge, that's the name of the company and the name of the tool. There's a couple different ones, I guess. This is a 125, what does it say, Kevin? 5.3?
It says 1, 2, 5, 3.
Okay, that's enough. All right, 1253, yeah. Of course, the other important item for us, which I never seem to have, which is true to form, is my reading glasses.
Yeah.
Because as I near my 5th decade, my eyes cannot see anything inside of 12 inches very well.
They live in his office.
That's right. I have about 100 pairs of those, and they are never where I am whenever I need them. Okay, so another nifty little tool is this little fork tool. All right, this started out as a cheap Harbor Freight screwdriver, And certain typewriters have locking rings, specifically a lot of times when you're trying to make on-feed adjustments. And so they're split, and you can't do it without being able to release the locking ring. And I'm thinking specifically about German machines. I've seen it most primarily on Robotron or Ericas, but I've also seen it on some Adlers. I don't think Olympia did that to you, but it's just a tool. So I ground that down. First time I've ever ground down and made a custom tool, but I'm really quite proud of it. It was actually a fair bit of work to make this rather simple tool, but we got it made. All right, I think, oh yes, and then your very small screwdriver set. So 3.3 millimeter, I guess, and others. This is a slotted screwdriver, and of course then we have a Phillips head, which you almost never see in the typewriter world. Phillips, with the exception that Brother Typewriter and their later variants rather boldly decided to start using Phillips head screws. So I know that's kind of anathema to probably old typewriter techs, but it works well for us. Some other random things. These are just little foam squares we use, and it comes in handy sometimes to prop up a typewriter if you want to get underneath it, or you're lifting it up and you want to protect your custom paint job so it doesn't scratch on your desk. The desk itself has a cutting mat, and that comes in handy a little bit just to cut things and also try to protect your desk from the horrible chemical solvents that we use. And that's a great segue to talking to. Pan to the right, Kevin. All the horrible chemical solvents. Let's go to some of the chemicals we like to use. All right, so this one right here is called Neutral, and you're like, it's a control cleaner. Well, what's that for electronics? Well, you've used electric typewriters, right? No, this Neutral has a bit of a, basically, it's very lightweight. It's a lubricant that is an aerosol, and it's just the absolute best thing for spraying on a segment after you've finished thoroughly degreasing and cleaning it, so that it has just a little bit of lubricity or slipperiness, and I believe it has some Teflon in it. But it's a little bit better than, you could use something like a rim oil, which is another chemical we use. I use the rim oil for guide rails, carriage rails, lubricating that after you've cleaned them off, because the bearings in the mechanism need to be lubricated just a hair, and so just a little bit of rim oil. It definitely has Teflon in it and is a great tool. Yes, Katie, you have something to say? All right, Katie just wanted to let us know she wanted to film, so she is doing that now. So, continuing on with our chemical medley, on the left here we have, in a nice squirt bottle, is a mineral spirits, and we use this to clean just about everything, but to clean the segment, especially of a typewriter. We follow Dwayne Jensen's model. We are his apprentice. Really like his methods. They're very effective, and he knows what he is doing, so we have copied him. After we initially flush it, or I should say it backwards, we use this here. This is this is lacquer thinner. This stuff is extremely potent, and it really melts grease very quickly. So we squirt this into the segment first to clean out any of the big heavy gunk and grime. Manipulate the keys to even further break down physically the gunk in the segment, and then we flush it out with mineral spirits. If you don't have lacquer thinner, you can do it with just mineral spirits, but lacquer thinner is better. And the last step to that is to use high pressure compressed air to blast out any remaining residue, and then as we kind of jumped ahead of ourselves, we use the Neutral as our very last step to lubricate the now fully cleaned out segment. So continuing on, another tool we use a lot is hops. Number 9, hops or hoppies. I'm never sure how to pronounce it. This is a gun bore cleaner. It has an interesting kind of licorice smell. This thing is just the world's greatest tool for getting rid of liquid paper that is dried and petrified in your typewriter. It just works really well. It's really good at cleaning card guides, clear transparent card guides that have liquid paper, almost always on the wrong or back side of it. It's hard to get to. It also does a great job of cleaning up ink from ribbons that have rubbed against your card guides or anything else that you want to get off. Goo Gone, okay? General purpose removal of goo and gunk adhesive. Sometimes those wonderful brother machines have the sticker from Parents Magazine. The Goo Gone helps you get that stuff off, although the adhesive on the Goo Gone on those brothers is extremely hard. Yes, Kevin?
I just wanted to ask.
Yeah.
When we're done with this little typewriter, first thing, like, after we're done, like, when we start the garage tour, we should first actually show them what the air compressor looks
Well, that's a great segue, Kevin. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's come on over here, and this is our air compressor, another really important tool we use. This is a Fortress Ultra Quiet Series, 2-gallon, 135 psi, 12.1 something cubic foot meter, blah 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 blah. All right, so I'll turn it on for you. All right, so I don't know how that comes across in TV land, but that is really quiet. Oh, it doesn't work so well when you don't turn it off. There we go. Let's close the valve. So the pressure is coming up. We run it at about 90 psi, and we regulate the output with a pistol grip air spray hose, which we have sitting right over here. All right, so air compressor is an absolute essential to blowing out stuff. Some people use canned air. God bless you, because that is a lot of canned air. We use so much air blowing out junk that I don't know how you do it with just a single can of canned air. And, oh, all right, more stuff. After we are done cleaning the machine and restoring it mechanically, we use this Meguiar's Ultra Cut compound. It's a very gritty and aggressive wax compound that will help remove all the oxidized layers of the paint, and that's super nice. We use a variety of different polishes for the chrome pieces. So this is white diamond. I particularly like it, not because necessarily it's better than Mother's, but because it has this wonderful vanilla smell, and I really like the smell of it. Yes, Katie? All right, Katie wanted to show us what we use to clean the exterior of the typewriters, and also what we use to clean the cases. And we use this giant professional spray bottle, which is full of a diluted mixture of simple green. And then we also use just another giant spray bottle. This one doesn't have a yellow top, that's how I keep them separated, from just plain water. So simple green first, and then plain water. This one's a little messed up, hopefully it'll survive. And we use a lot of simple green. It's just a wonderful cleaner, and we use it. So speaking of cleaning, we spin around. We have our little hamper here of rags. More rags you know what to do with. This is one of my favorite rags. Haven't named it yet, but it is a favorite because I use it to wipe off the type slugs after I have mineral spirited soaked them and then wire brush them to clean off the dirty old ink. I try to keep all my chemicals in the Home Depot bucket. So this is another super cleaner called LA's Totally Awesome. Found it at a thrift store. It is very potent. You have to really dilute that. A variety of different car wax. This is like an experimental de-stinkifier for some Smith Corona stink. We've got plastics, which is a good for, it's actually a good wax all around. Of course, Mother's, Carnauba, Brazilian Carnauba wax is good. This little brush has cleaned many typewriters. It's just soft enough, but then also has a really tough bristle part. It's probably a toilet brush, I don't know, but don't use it in your toilet. And that's pretty much an overview of our basic tools. So the kids want to show you some more stuff, so we'll pan around just real quickly. I am blessed to have a fairly large garage. I would like to have all of this shelf cleared off, but it is not. You have a number of typewriters that are slated to be worked on. This one is a real true performer, Smith Corona standard, and this is a Torpedo 20 hiding as a Remington. And of course some Ghosts and Tippas, all kinds of stuff. So, and my favorite signature 510s, and then a beautiful Royal Aristocrat I had thought I might paint, but it just showed up so nice I just can't bring myself to paint it. That's a little bit of a philosophy discussion about when to paint something and when not to. We have a printer which doesn't work with our Wi-Fi, which is just taking up space. We have a scale we use to measure our packages. We have an air conditioner, which we have not yet turned on, but boy, that is a godsend. It's an indoor air conditioner, and it runs out through this exhaust port, which is disconnected right now, but it really makes a difference when it's 105 degrees in Texas in the summer, which it has not yet been, but it sure got close. All right, moving on.
And this is our big bad Lazy Dog Typewriter banner. It's really inspired us.
Yes, it's an inspiration. All right, so let's continue on around. Watch your step, everybody, because it is extremely messy and crowded in here, and that's always an embarrassment. Okay, so let me start off on this. This is one of our many. You want to zoom out, Kevin? I think you're in zoom in mode.
No, I'm not.
Well, you are right. You are the cameraman. Okay, so one of our shelving units we have in the garage. Do not use these shelving units. They are junk. They will eventually collapse. I've had one collapse. I'm looking for signs of incipient collapse any moment, but we have what we have right now. So I have about quite a few brother typewriters. I love them. They're all stacked up in here. They're eventually going to be custom painted. This is not a brother. This is a Voss. It was damaged in shipping to me. I am so brokenhearted about the damage that I haven't even been able to look at it, but eventually I will see if I can fix it. Joe Van Cleve gets a shout out here because this is one of my mini baby wedges, which I think are just super cool. I have a roll or two of fax paper to use those with. This is one of my few parts machines. I love this guy because I use it for whatever reason. I use that particular typewriter to spool all my ribbon on when I re-spool it from large spools or take it off of different spools. Just moving over quickly, we're not going to show you everything, talk about everything, but pan across here, Kevin. These are my more brothers. These are the signatures. I must be the most in love with a Signature 510 of anyone on earth. I think it's probably one of the best, most underloved typewriters out there. It just truly is fantastic. Again, a little more shot of my brother JP1 collection. Come on, step back, Kevin. I try to have things organized a little bit by theme, but it gets a little bit jumbled. So here we have, anyone knows what this beautiful crocodile case is? That is an Alpina. There's an AMC right next to it, which is also an Alpina in hiding. Adler Favorite, Torpedo 18, Super Metal, Triumph Perfect, Optimus Super. So we're kind of getting into the German realm around here. So Erica M, Koppel. Some space up here for some Smith Coronas and an Olympia Traveler. Moving on, Kevin. We have another. We're blessed to have two Alpinas. Same crocodile case, a couple of Groma Ns. This section here represents a project I launched at the beginning of January before all the coronavirus craziness hit, where I imported about 50 typewriters from Germany. It's quite an adventure, maybe subject for a different video on the trials and tribulations of importing typewriters. Moving on around here, we've got some more German stuff, Cold Steel, my little wedge collection up there, little pyramids waiting for some love. And continuing on around, this is our royal section, not royal, but royal princesses. And we've got princesses, lots of princesses. I find the princesses, as we did in The Princess and the Pea, to be quite fragile. Here we have a console, several consoles hidden down in there, and who knows what's hidden behind this mountain of cardboard. Why, you may ask, do you have so much cardboard? Well, because I try to reuse some of the shipping boxes that I get. Many of them are excellent, some of them are not. If they're not, I chop them up and use them as reinforcement. Continuing on around and finishing our whole tour, here is my ready for sale section. These are machines that have been thoroughly cleaned, posted, and listed. Most of my sales come through Etsy. Because of the corona issues, I don't meet people in person so much anymore, and that has kind of cut down on our sales, but so be it. We put them in here. We like to have this shelf filled. It's kind of low right now. And let's take a step back, Kevin, and give them a big wide view. Oh, last but not least, this is our desk. Katie is hiding. But this desk is what started it all. It was a thrift store purchase for about $40, and I thought that'd be good in my desk. I could my garage. I could make a desk out of that and really work on it. So it turned out to be really well. So without further ado, here is the shot you've been waiting for. Our two young stars want to show their faces to you. Here they are. Say hi to Kevin and Katie, the Lazy Dog Typewriter crew. And we have really appreciated our tour. We appreciate having 100 subscribers, and we wish you all the best. And one last thing we forgot to mention about this gray typewriter. This is a custom painted typewriter that appears to be gray because Kevin happens to be colorblind. And that was a little bit of a shocking discovery we made not too long ago. But if he says it's a gray typewriter, it just might be pink to you and me.
Please like, subscribe, and share.